You can't change your past, but you can change someone's future. I'm Janean Dyson, and this is my story. I'm here to talk to you about my story that happened with my fire in my home in the fall of 2019. Here in my kitchen, that morning, my sister came to get me and she was making tea for the day, and somehow the eye that was next to her teapot caught on fire. The thing that I wish I knew beforehand is just how quickly a fire can spread, not just in your home, but on your body. I was completely unaware of that until it happened to me. As I entered into the kitchen, I realized at the bottom of that pot, it had grease in it, so we couldn't obviously put water on that grease. So as crazy as this sounds, I called my mom. To think of how silly that sounds to the lay person, I'm literally battling a fire and I'm like, hey mom, the kitchen's on fire. And she's like, oh, just put some flour and baking soda on it. Turn around, next thing I know, I'm like, I'll call you back. I had no idea that my body is going into all these things. It may have been maybe a 2-minute, no longer than 3-minute fire, but it felt like forever. My face was starting to burn and my hands had to be transported to Loyola Medical Center, which is a burn trauma unit. And I was there for 2.5 weeks in the IC unit. Did not realize that I had suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns on my face, neck, arms, and hands. I have a skin graft on my hand. As a survivor, I had to learn how to write again. I had to learn how to walk in some instances because of my skin graft on my thigh. In a fight or flight moment, I just didn't want my sister burned, and my brain kept thinking, if I don't extinguish it, this is gonna get bad real soon. So the cabinets were destroyed on both sides and the stove as well. I can care less about my home because that's what can be replaced. She cannot, and that's what drove the constant. I picked up a pot, moved it, and that's where I got burned because I didn't want her to be burned. My injury happened right before we had to shelter in place, so that felt like a very lonely place for me. I became very well connected with the Phoenix Society and their SOAR peer program, very active with the Illinois Fire and Safety Alliance, group therapy with Loyola Medical, and then our local fire department. Because as we learned through the burn community, that once your outer scars began to heal, now you're dealing with the mental and the physical thereafter. So it's never over when your burn injuries are over. What does life look like thereafter? That's why I became a burn survivor advocate. Smoke detectors are great because we know the firemen are coming, but it also helps if you have the sprinklers to help extinguish those fires. So if you are building a new home, please think of how instrumental it would be to have a sprinkler system in your home to contain that fire that could possibly save a life.